The Dreadcast episode, which you are about to hear, is an account of the macabre battle that occurred when two slasher icons came face to face. Not a single listener was prepared for the grotesque violence that followed between these two deranged monsters. What would intentionally be disguised as a mere peaceful afternoon could not hide the harrowing, nightmarish reality of what was to come. Screams were silenced by the blade of a knife. Limbs were torn by the relentless edge of a chainsaw. The events of that day would become forever immortalized in the annals of horror podcasting history, known to all as Slasher vs Slasher, Ghostface vs Leatherface.
Well, on that last rusty chainsaw note of the last episode, welcome back to episode 3 of the Dreadcast, where we are finally finishing off our Scream. I guess you could call it near enough Scream month. We're done with Scream month, wasn't it? We're done with Scream for a bit. So, episode 3, we are going to be having a bit of a fight. Not us two.
Yeah, no.
But we're going to be having a fight with leading on to our new franchise, which in episode 4 we will be focusing on
a nice golden oldie, shall we say? I mean, let's face it, he is a golden oldie, an OG.
It's not an oldie though. The next episode.
Well, I mean, the film that the film we're reviewing is not a golden oldie, but the character at least is a golden oldie.
You could call this episode a segue. This is our segue into the next
one,
the future of the podcast for the time being. So in today's episode, we will be doing Slasher versus Slasher. And obviously, we've been talking about Scream, so we'll be talking about Ghostface. Only in Scream 1.
Yeah. We're only going to go to the originals.
Versus Leatherface from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, the reason why we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre is because, as I alluded to, the next episode, episode 4, we will be reviewing and probably crying and hating on. I hope we're not. I'm saying that
hopefully
way in
not,
advance.
but
I hope it's good. But we will be trying to review the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film straight to Netflix.
The true sequel, but let's be honest. I mean, looking at the trailer that we've seen and the pictures that we've seen, both of us, we don't. Horrific. I mean, let's set the bar slightly low because, quite frankly, the podcast of it, the plot of it, already makes no sense.
No.
But that's something we'll leave till next week because otherwise this whole episode is just going to be us having a bit of a rant about a film that's not even come out yet.
Oh, and I could go for a good half hour right now.
I know you could.
I need to get it out. Get it out of me.
You got to wait a week.
So until then, we're gonna bridge the gap between Scream and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. We're not going to be going into the franchise itself of Chainsaw Massacre, but this is the nice bridge. So Ghostface from Scream 1 versus Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. And we've got, how many categories have we got to?
We have six categories we've got to go through. We have 6 categories. Yeah. So the way we're trying to do this, obviously this is subject to further review, depending on how well it works, does not work, what we change, and etc. But the categories that we're going for, we have I guess we'll just do these in order, is we have category 1 is cinematic impact. So how impacting was either the character or... Actually, no, we'll go with the character, I think. I don't think we'll do the franchise because otherwise that's just a bit too long. Category number 2 is survivability. Can they be survived? How hard is it to survive them? Etc.
We can also include the kill count. The kill count in there as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Yeah, I think the kill count as well would be quite nice. Yeah. Luckily, if you were to do, I think all franchise kills, we'd be here for decades.
Yep.
But I think
especially
most
Friday
of the
13th.
Oh, yeah, you'd be here for way too long. I think with these two, it's quite nice because whilst they have kills in their films, there's not too many. So we can kind of we can
noted them
manage. Yeah. So category number 3 is weapon of choice. How terrifying is their weapon of choice if it comes flying towards you?
I think that's my most prominent one I've got notes on. The weapon of choice. The weapon discussion. I've got quite a bit on that. Looking forward to that.
That's good. I think that one's I think that one is the one that we're probably going to be different on, but we'll see how we see what we chose. Category 4 is brutality. How brutally do they dispatch their victims?
Yeah.
That one I think is going to be quite fun to dive into. Category number 5 is strength. How strong are they compared to each other? That one I think is going to be interesting.
And again, if we were doing the franchise, say for Scream, where there's so many different killers, which we've gone so into in the past 2 episodes about how could the strength of this killer compared to the strength of this Ghostface. It's a bit subjective.
Bit tricky.
That.
Yeah. And category number 6 is the fear factor. Just who would you be more afraid of, I think, is the way we're going to go with that one. Would it be Ghostface if he comes at you, or would it be Leatherface if he comes at you? Which one, personally, do we think is more terrifying?
I think that one will be a quick round.
Are you sure? Oh, okay. Oh,
for me, anyway.
For you, anyway, yeah. Well, again, I think we're going to differ on different opinions, but we'll see.
Well, that's good. That's good.
That is good.
So it's what the people want.
It's what the people want. Give them the blood.
You got to give it to them.
So each category has a max points of 2 points each for a total of 12. I would say, whoever wins which category, I guess they get the 2 points, the other one only gets the 1. And at the end of it, the higher slasher wins and gets, lives to slash another day, while the loser falls to their weapon of choice.
So, our first category, as we are discussing our first slasher versus slasher series, Ghostface vs Leatherface. Again, these are only from Scream 1
originals
and 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, first category, brutality.
Cinematic impact. No.
Sorry, brutality. Sorry. No, you are right. What a good start.
We haven't actually put these into we'll put these into order after we've finished recording this today, because we'll be like, okay, to be fair, I mean, cinematic impact probably we should do last anyway.
We've got plenty of slashers to do with this in the future.
Yeah, we do. So we'll go with cinematic impact first, shall we then?
So go for. I think when we do these categories, it's going to be either of our opinions, and then we're trying to find the middle ground, really.
Yeah, in no way is this us giving you the definitive answer to who is the base one. This is basically just us saying which one we think. I think to be fair, I think on this one we're the same. We have the same opinion who wins. I
think so.
Either that. Yeah, I think we have.
But I do have some. You go first. I have a few notes on it. What do you think?
So with these two, I think it's quite interesting because both of them are responsible for sort of a research. Scream is very notable for its resurgence of bringing back the slasher genre in the 2000s. Obviously, slashers at that point, were on the decline. Jason, Michael, and Freddy were going off on really weird tangents. Even Leatherface at that point in time was doing some weird stuff.
You're telling me.
But then Wes Craven brought it back with Scream by quite amusingly taking the piss out of the slasher genre and managing to revitalize it completely. So I was torn between choosing my thoughts on these two. So on the one hand, I thought, Ghostface single-handedly managed to kick the slasher genre back into action. And you could say a lot of the more like modern slashers may not have come around if Scream hadn't been made. But then at the same time, you could say without Leatherface back in 1974, you may not have had many of these slasher guys. I mean, I would say that Leatherface is directly responsible for influencing Michael Myers, who came out 5 years later, 1979, 5 years later.
78.
So with me, I sat there and I was thinking about this, and I had to give it to the Leatherface. Purely because when he came onto the scene, obviously there were a few like proto slashers with Psycho, Black Christmas, that were kind of, even Michael Myers, and to that degree afterwards, were, I guess you could call Leatherface a proto slasher. But the impact that he had in 1974 probably single-handedly helped to launch the slasher genre.
Yeah, Black Christmas was before it, but nothing had the impact. Nothing had the impact like the character of Leatherface.
Yeah, he was. I honestly was shocked when he first appeared on screen. I mean, I knew he was coming, but it's a good 45 minutes into this film that's only an hour and 15. It's a very short film.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. There's no build up to the character of Leatherface. One single bit. As soon as he is shown on the screen, you are taken back as to.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, where did you come from? We have not seen or known a single thing about you, and suddenly this person with whatever, you don't even know if it's what sort of face. You don't even know it's skin on his face.
No, you don't.
In fact, it's not even referenced throughout the film that it's skin on his face.
It's not, is it?
You just see this monster in front of you.
I must admit, I think he had one of the best reveals. Simply because I can't remember who it is. I think it's one of the lads. I think it's Kurt. It must be Kurt or Kirk, whatever his name is. He's simply walking towards the door.
Yeah.
And Leatherface just appears, wallops him on the head with the mallet, the meat masher, and you're just sitting there going, But before you have the time to sort of like recognize what happened, he's clocked him again with the masher, and he's slammed the door, and that's it. He's gone.
Yeah, it happens so quickly.
Yeah, as cool as I think Ghostface looks, and was responsible for, personally, Leatherface is just sort of that proto. If anything, he is the proto slasher.
Yeah. I am probably on the same wavelength as you, but you can go into more depth with it with the fact that I believe Leatherface has more. He obviously has more longevity because he's been out longer.
Yeah, he does.
But he has more longevity because of how. When we originally first started doing this podcast, we did do our first episode, which failed miserably. The top five, and I mentioned about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the impact that film has on a younger audience that would watch it. Whereas when I first discovered that film, a friend told me, it's so gory, it's so violent, it's just horrible, whereas it's not. So to have that impact from that sort of character, that is longevity that will never end. Leatherface will always be a synonymous horror character in the genre. There won't be a new character or slasher villain that kind of goes up a rank above Leatherface. He's always going to be up there. Ghostface is very modern, still very new.
Oh yeah, I mean he's only 22. No, 20. He's younger than us, actually. If you think about it, he's younger than us. He's 22. Yeah. So if you would take 20, so he came out in 96. So he 26, is only 28 years. Oh, actually, he's almost as old as us, I suppose.
25, 26.
25, 26. Yeah. Whereas Leatherface he's donkey's years old, which actually I think I will give it to the new film. Slight tangent. At least they are saying, Leatherface in this is old. Now he is old in the new one.
Yeah.
Although there have been, I must admit, I do agree with some people. Leatherface when he first appeared was clearly in his late. Well, I actually don't know how old he was, but it was obviously 20s to 30s.
Yep.
So when you look at him now, you'd be like, the dude would be 80 plus. So
I had that issue. I had that issue with it 50 years later. So you're telling me if he's like in the mid 60s, Leatherface was 18 going through puberty? It would explain the anger and the irrational moments.
Yes. maybe he was just really, really frustrated. He's in the middle of nowhere. He's got nothing to take his frustration.
That's why he was chasing Sally.
Yeah.
I love you.
Check out my Oh, you're dead. Oh,
come to my house. I'll make you dinner. Stop running.
I so hope someone does a parody of that. That'd be great.
The other thing I was mentioning about how Leatherface, it's not leather, obviously it's skin.
Yes.
So, but he looks like a monster. It's just a horrific sight, right? Ghostface is very clean. His mask is very clean. It's just a black cape. It's not as scary, in my opinion. It's not as scary looking, in my opinion, as looking at. I look at Ghostface, I think, there's a human under there. I look at Leatherface and I think, what is that?
I have to agree with you there, because when I watched the film the other day, I realized I hadn't actually seen all of it. There were some bits I had missed, which is great to go back again. And it's a scene where I think Leatherface, one of them has gotten away. He doesn't know where, I think, either the brother is, Franklin is, or Sally is. And you can tell he's in his mind, he's getting sort of frustrated.
Is
but it's
that
when
the
he's just
close-up?
Yeah, it's the close-up shot of his face. And it's when you just hear him, I guess, trying to talk or whatever that language is he's using. I sat there and I went, I kid you not, I would rather come face-to-face with Ghostface, because that is freaking me out right now. Obviously, it is assumed that Leatherface is inbred. There's something wrong with him. But in that moment, I remember sitting there looking at it, sort of backing away from the screen going, nope, okay, there's something not quite right there. Whereas obviously Ghostface, obviously they're slightly psychotic, but with with Leatherface, it was a moment of, there is not something all turning in his brain.
It's fully unhinged. It's fully there's not really a motive. There's no motive. Like with Ghostface and whoever is Ghostface, there is, like we said, it's a Scooby-Doo mystery. It's a psychopath. Leatherface, there is no motive, and that scene, that scene is so fantastic. The close up of him, because it's when oh god, I always get it. So it's either Jerry or Kirk. I believe it's Jerry, the guy with the afro. So he's the third person to walk in.
Yeah, it'd be Jerry. I think Kirk is gone by that point.
Kirk
is the first one to go.
Then it's Pam who gets dragged in to the house. She gets put on a meat hook. But then Jerry walks in and he mallets right in the face. But then you can see, like you said, you see Leatherface. He's kind of a bit. What am I doing? Where did these people these damn kids keep coming into my house? What? Yeah. What am I doing? He's sort of collecting himself. Like, okay, right. Think, Leatherface. What do we do? We've just killed.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Because isn't that after Jerry finds Pam in the freezer?
Yeah.
Or so who is that? Pam in the?
Yeah.
It is Pam. It's not Pam. It is Pam in the freezer. And again, there you can see him slamming it shut, chasing. And in his I guess his mind, to him it's like, this has never happened before. What on earth is going on here? Usually my victims, they come in, they die. That's it. But this group, you can see they're stressing him out.
Yeah, he's very stressed out. That is definitely the case.
Oh yeah. That poor Leatherface teenager in the middle of Texas. But the fact that there is no motive makes him more terrifying, because at the end of the film, when he's just swinging his chainsaw around, you're kind of like,
unhinged.
So why did he do this? Is he just a bit odd?
Yeah.
Whereas Ghostface, it's, if they didn't give, I mean, don't they reference that in Scream 5? It's like, it's more scary when there's no motive.
Yes.
I
believe they do actually. Yeah.
Oh, Scream. It's one of them. It's like, no, it might be the original Scream. It's like, why do we kill him? Oh, well, we just felt like it. There's no motive. You don't need one. No, it was Scream 5. Yeah, it's modern times. You don't need a motive. That was it.
I believe we can probably both agree then it's Leatherface for that one.
Yep.
For the
I would say
impact.
Yeah, 2 points to Leatherface.
Lovely.
So if I take a note of this down, 2 points Leatherface.
Congratulations, Leatherface.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with those points? Going to store them? Yep.
He's gonna save them up for a new chainsaw.
Yeah,
that's what I think he's gonna do.
Interest on them.
Yeah.
So, all right, round 2, survivability, which I kind of, when you mentioned that to me, I've kind of interpreted it to kill count as well, because that goes with the survivability.
The bigger the body count, the more you could say they're not survivable.
The body count between the two is kind of 1 to 2. There is there's 3 deaths in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not including the Hitchhiker.
Because the Hitchhiker is the brother.
Yeah. Well, 3 deaths. Well, you don't actually see Pam die.
No, it's implied. Well, I mean, I think you could say it's implied she freezes to death.
Well, yeah, she's locked back in. She's locked back in the freezer. So, okay, it's 4 then. So it's Jerry, Kirk, Pam, and Franklin. Franklin gets it hard.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, geez, I felt so bad for that kid.
And in Scream, it goes. Scream is tough as well, because if you want to class Maureen Prescott there as well, which I don't think you should, but she is killed by Billy and Stu.
Yeah,
I don't think we should really count her.
I think if we're going off the film, Maureen. Yeah. Well, the thing is, when you get later down the line, they add stuff to it. It's like, because when you get, I think it's a Roman. He's like, I made them kill her, so actually it was me that killed her. If you go off just the films,
you got Casey. And
Yep,
Steve
Casey
at the
dies.
beginning.
Steve, yep.
Then I mean, obviously we'd watched the films recently, but
Yeah.
after doing the research again, I'd completely forgotten there's not a death again until the principal.
No, there's not. Yeah.
And that's quite a big gap in the film.
Oh God, that's like half. That's over the halfway point.
Yeah. It goes
Wow,
the principal, then Tatum, then Kenny, the camera guy,
Oh,
then Stu. Well, quote unquote, Stu. Yeah. Dies.
Yeah. Well,
quote unquote,
if
Stu dies. Yeah. And then
if
it's
he's
Billy.
dead.
And then it's Billy. So, who are we looking at? Steve,
Yeah,
1,
that's a
2,
good point.
Principal, Tatum, Kenny, Billy. So 6. So you're looking at 6 to 4, shall we say?
Oh, you got 7. Or no? Are we including the actual deaths of the Ghostface killers?
Well, Billy and Stu. Yeah. If you don't, no, I suppose you're not though, because they're not.
No, because you can't, because they're not Ghostface, are they?
You are
Ghostface
correct,
kills.
sir. So
Yeah.
Casey, Steve, Principal, Kenny.
Yeah.
That's it.
Steve, Casey, Arthur, Himbry, Tatum, and Kenny. Yes, there's only
5.
6. No.
5.
Oh, 5, sorry. Yeah.
5.
Because Stu was the 6th one.
5.
Yeah.
So 5 to 4 then. So there's not much in it. So Scream,
No.
in a way, Ghostface gets it on the kill count, but what we're looking at is the survivability. Whereas my thoughts on that were that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because of how the realism of the film, it feels so gritty and real that compared to Scream, which it feels like a film of the time, a teen horror drama.
Yeah, we covered that last in the franchise deep dive. It's so many genres, you can't pin it really.
So with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it doesn't feel like there are all the tropes there just yet. With making stupid decisions, they'd already encountered the Hitchhiker. They're already in the middle of nowhere. They're already a bit freaked out.
Well, they actually these teens are different from the teens that followed.
Yeah,
because they don't actually make. I can't recall them making a stupid decision, because obviously when the Hitchhiker starts cutting himself and then cuts Franklin, they're like out the car.
Yeah. So
they boot him out. Yeah. And even when they're looking around the house, they're kind of like, they don't really make any stupid decisions, because it's not, we can hear screaming in the cellar, let's go and find out what it is. It's like, actually, no, they don't even have a chance to do that.
When they get to the Sawyer house, it's who goes in first? It's Kirk that goes in first, which we just mentioned about the reveal of Leatherface. Kirk and Pam are there. Pam waits outside. Kirk just rocking gingerly, walks in, and it's within 2 to 3 seconds. It's
super quick. He's
there
gone.
There aren't really any stupid decisions. What can he do? He can't do anything. He can't really defend himself.
He doesn't even have a chance to scream. It's just out.
No.
And so obviously at that point in time, when when Pam goes into the house, she's only doing it because she's like, where on earth is Kurt? So she's not realizing he's gone. And it's only that's when she gets grabbed. So you couldn't actually call that a stupid decision, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere with a friend and they didn't turn up for like 5-10 minutes, you'd be like, all right, I should probably find out what's happened to them.
Even more moving forward to Sally and Franklin, they're on their own in the middle of nowhere. Their van is broken down.
Their friends are missing.
I'd be terrified, because it sounds really mean, but you're dependent on your brother in the wheelchair. You can't just leave him, because your friends have already gone missing for a good probably 3
that's the whole
hours.
day at that point. Yeah.
It's in the afternoon to the nighttime, so it's a good maybe 6 hours at the max,
something like that. Yeah.
And they're gone, and they're not coming back. You don't know where the hell they are. You don't know where you are, and you have to go out in the middle of the night. And God bless her, Sally. She does the best she could.
She really does. I did have some gripes with the bit where it's only Sally left. They're like and I kid you not, I got to a point, and it's the fact that she keeps screaming no matter what she does. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And I found myself sitting there going, please just be quiet for a second. And I know that quite a few people also sat there goes, honestly, it's okay. No one would scream for that long. You're in the middle of nowhere. You may as well just stop screaming. There's no point.
Especially with the sound of the chainsaw. If you're quiet, that can block out a lot of the sound of her rustling around.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fact she kept running around screaming all the time, like you're leading him to you. Just shh, and you'll be fine. I would say, in terms of environment, where these two the two killers are, I would actually I would say it's more easy to survive Ghostface in terms of an urban setting.
Yeah.
Because you have so many houses, you have police stations, you have, I don't know, shopping centers. Although, let's be honest, a lot of the buildings in Scream magically empty with no warning. So, you got that going against you. But in the middle of a Texas farmland where there are acres of nothingness.
That's their land. They know it.
Yeah. If you're being chased by a nut job with a chainsaw and you're aware that, for as far as you can see, there's nothing else, you'd be like, I am screwed.
Yep.
Because no matter which way I run, he can see me. There is no chance. I mean, the only thing you can do in that is you just got to hope that he tires out before you do.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. And well, with Scream, we just mentioned the kill count, but I think Casey, I'm going to get back into this again with Casey's brutal death.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh.
I'm not butchering this. My memory is very fuzzy at times. It is Casey, right? Drew Barrymore's character. It's not Cassie or Casey?
Yeah, so Casey? I've got the list up. So Steve is Casey's boyfriend.
Is it Cassie or Casey?
Casey. Casey is Stu's ex-girlfriend before he dated Tatum.
But yeah, Drew Barrymore is Casey. It's not Cassie.
Drew Barrymore is Casey. No, it's not Casey. It's not oh, God.
Yeah.
This is like Sydney thing.
Sydney's. I'm glad we're getting this out of the way now. Casey, well, even if she's Cassie, we're calling her Casey. We're retconning it now. Scream 5.5, we're calling her Casey. Yep. Her death is the most brutal, in my opinion, in the whole film.
Yeah, but it's gnarly.
You can do two arguments. That house is massive that she lives in. So
it's huge.
Her method of trying to survive is kind of increased. There's more entry points, there's more exit points, and there's only one killer. Mm. But at the same time, the horror and terror that's going through her head, she's not going to be able to focus and think clearly.
No, you probably not.
I know I wouldn't be able to. I'd be shaking in my boots. I wouldn't know what to do.
Your adrenaline would be pumping. Your fight or flight response would be going nuts.
Yeah. So I think she did one hell of a job to get as far as she did.
Yeah, she survived for quite a while.
Yeah.
Considering there are obviously two that's the other thing. There are two Ghostface running around, whereas Leatherface is only one. So effectively, if you were to stack the odds there, your survivability against the Ghostface is 50% lower, you could say, because you've got to avoid two of them rather than the one.
Yeah. The worst one, I think, in Scream, though, the one that is Tatum's.
Oh, the garage
thing. She played it up as she played it as Stu dressed up, and they were playing a game.
Yeah.
Really, would you do that? Would you do that?
Yeah.
Would you play that up? Would you not just be okay? I don't care if you're Stu or not. Just get the fuck out. Like, I'm screaming for help. I don't Stu. This is not funny.
Well, that comes back to the teens making stupid decisions, which is now a trope.
Yeah.
So it's great though because they reference that again in Scream 5.
Yeah.
Which it's I keep forgetting I'm terrible with characters' names. Mindy and Amber, where it's like, oh, you followed me down. Should you have done that? Well, why are you down here alone? But and it goes. This back and forth is great, and it's like, you first, go up the stairs. Oh no, you first. But and it's fantastic because you're sitting there going, yeah, that is the conversation that Tatum should have had in Scream with whoever it was in the mask. It should have been like, I tell you what, go back up the stairs, or take the mask off. The teens in horror movies, let's face it, they're all dumb.
They're stronger. They're stronger minded in Scream.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
They are stronger
minded.
But
there are still some stupid decisions. Like Tatum could have just, if she believed that was Stu, she could have just gone to the mask, just lifted it up, and hey, how are you? Like, hey, how you doing? But she wanted to play along with it.
Yeah.
And the garage was open. She could have just backed away, gone straight out. But no, she had to play along.
Oh, God. We'll have to do an episode on the dumbest decisions teens ever made in a horror film, I'm sure. But going back to survivability, do you? I struggle with this one. I don't really know who to give the points to, because on the one hand, I would say that surviving Leatherface is, if especially in his element, is tricky as hell. Considering you're in the open, there's nowhere for you to go. But then, so long as you can outrun him and find a town, you should be okay. Whereas Ghostface, you've got to avoid 2 of them, but you're in an urban setting, so you should be able to find safety.
I have a big but though.
Okay.
And I also have a but for this. Way.
No.
Bit of humor in there. Why not? Compare Leatherface's setting to Ghostface's setting. Leatherface is just in his home. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Leatherface isn't out. We just talked about like the unhinged and the motive. Leatherface isn't out to kill these people.
No, he's not actually, is he?
If their van was fine, they'd survive. Really?
Or if they didn't take the turning, because that's what the gas station guy says, isn't it? He goes, "Oh yeah, don't go that way," and they're like, "No, we're going to do it anyway."
Ghostface, it's a lot harder to survive Ghostface because he or she is out to kill you specifically.
That's a good
Leatherface
point.
isn't out to kill anyone. Leatherface is whatever, doing what only he knows.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way. So actually, if you were to take that into account, surviving Leatherface would actually be pretty easy.
Unless
it's similar to.
It's quite easy, yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if you're stuck there, so long as you don't go on their property, I guess. Leatherface would just be like, "Well, I don't care. It's not my land. Bugger off.
Just walk away.
Oh.
Just walk away or run." That was just my little slight opinion.
Okay.
I think that's.
I would say that's a good point. Then I would say, taking that into account, I would give the max points to Leatherface for being easiest to survive. I mean, which technically means he loses, I suppose. No, I would give him the max points because actually, and to be fair, he's similar in that regards to Jason. If you stay out of Camp Crystal Lake, Jason's like, "Well, I don't care about you. Leave me alone."
And then Michael is the opposite. Michael just kills.
Yeah, he has no reason.
Which he went back to Haddonfield because that's where his home was and stuff. But he will still just kill.
Well,
Jason,
I have bad hopes for Halloween
Manhattan. Unless Jason wants to go back to Manhattan, Jason, like you said, doesn't want to go anywhere to kill people.
No. Okay, so are we saying that Ghostface? No, so Ghostface loses that?
I think Leatherface loses, but I would say you give it to Ghostface because of the first round we did. Cinematic Impact. The more Leatherface won because of the more horror aspect it came from, the longevity. So I think you don't give. I don't know. You don't give the points to
the loser.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ghostface. Yeah. So Ghostface is the winner because he or she is out to get you.
Yeah.
So actually, no matter where you go, you have a target. You have a killer coming your way. Whereas Leatherface, if you're off his land, might just be like, okay, they're gone. That's it.
We're not talking about the survivors and how they survive. We're talking about how well we're gonna have to nail this one down for the next episode. We do a slasher versus slasher.
We'll work it out. Like we said at the start, it's still finished.
How's this? So like I said, Ghostface is actually out to kill you, okay? Which makes your survival rate plummet.
It does, yeah.
So that means he's doing his job better than Leatherface.
Yes, that's true, actually. Yeah, they would be.
How's that for everyone?
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So
Ghostface takes round 2. So we have the next category, which is, of course, brutality. This is, I guess you could say, it's how horrific they kill their victims.
Which is very subjective.
It is indeed.
We talked about before the podcast because of the violence and gore level. It depends. Yeah. It depends how you like your horror films. If you're into the ones that could be rated, I don't know, a 12A or a 15, they're not going to be as violent and gory, but they could be maybe a little bit brutal. But if you can stomach your horror films, go for it.
A good example of that is the most recent It film, which obviously was a 15.
Yeah.
But when you read the book, they could have easily ramped that up to an 18 if they kept in some of the gorier
Oh, for sure.
deaths I
for
get.
Sure.
But obviously they were kind of like, nah, let's make it a 15, dumb it, or they had to dumb down certain bits because the film had never been made at that point in time. But yeah, I would say it depends. Yeah, like you said, it depends how you like your horror films. I personally like the ones where it's scaring me. If it's actively making me shut my eyes, then I'm like, it's doing a good job. Slasher films, I go into them like I know I know what I'm expecting. It's a slasher who's going around killing people. I know what I'm getting into.
Rather
so they
than
don't
a gore
bother me.
fest.
Yeah. If it's gory, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen all the Saw films, and as the Saw films go on, I didn't care about the storyline. I was just like, I just want to see how creative you get.
That's exactly it for them, yeah. And with these, you're both films in question here. They different times, so different eras. I mean, back when 74,
It's a 22
oh my god,
year
trying
gap,
to think off the top of my head. I don't think we were looking at many violent, gory films back then.
No,
Whereas
they were quite
spread through the 80s. That's where it really picked up steam. Video
I would say it was after
nasties.
Freddy and Jason came out. That's when things started ramping up a bit. Freddy was definitely one of the more gorier ones, especially with the bed blood scene.
If we're talking slasher, because in 78 we had Dawn of the Dead, which was
it's true.
For the time very gory.
Yeah.
But if we're talking slashers, then probably Freddy onwards, and in the 80s we didn't really care, and then 90s onwards it got so much more relaxed. We got Mary Whitehouse out of the way, so we could get the R-rated films in.
I mean, you had Jaws, didn't you? Which was a PG horror film, and you're kind of like, oh, okay. Well, yeah,
the slasher Jaws.
The slasher film Jaws.
But they
were different back then.
They were different and brutal, violent. However you want to describe it. To me, brutality describes
Mortal Kombat.
To me, violent is more linked with gore. Violence is more linked with gore. So I believe Texas Chainsaw Massacre has more brutal killings, not violent, brutal killings, because of the way they are killed. They're more. I think they're not so much creative, but compared to a knife going into you, a mallet is a little bit different. And the chainsaw at one point.
I thought we would agree on this one. They are
more brutal, but they're not gory.
Yeah,
there's no
brutality for me is the way I can describe it is like the Mortal Kombat thing, where it's how do you dispatch your victim. Yeah, I would say, like you said, a knife. There's only one way it can really kill you. It's getting plunged into you. That's about it. Yeah. Whereas Leatherface, throughout his first film, is very creative with his kills. Personally, for me, I mean, I've seen a meat mushroom up close, and I think if you had that walloped into your skull, that would hurt. I mean, of course it would hurt.
Of course it would hurt.
And then, of course, he hooks Pam through the shoulders, underneath your shoulder blade.
Yeah.
So you're left there. That hook will be pulling your bones up. So that would be so damn painful.
Yeah, the brutality of that, and that's not even a death. That's just I'm just going to place her here. But thinking
just to hold
of
her.
it from Pam's point of view, I have no control here. I've been picked up, and I'm about to have this plunged into my back, and I can't move at all. That is brutal to me. That is so brutal. And the thing with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it gives the implication. And always Sunny fans here gets that thing, but it gives the implication, especially when Kirk's getting cut up. You're left to your own mind to think, to envision what's happening there. Oh god, the chainsaw is going through his neck. His head's fallen off on the floor. Let's go to the arm. He's chopping that up. It leaves it all to the audience's interpretation, and that can be even worse than seeing it on camera rather than a knife going into someone. That is your imagination. So much worse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's one of the best. That's what I think horror can do that well is if it can get your imagination to fill in the blank, because what they think. Oh, like they would have an idea of what they're like. Oh, well, this is technically what he did, but someone else could be like, oh, I thought something that was way worse than that.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, okay, then if that's what you think happened, that's what you think happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leatherface is very creative because, especially in terms of brutality, he is much more effective. I mean, you could effectively say if him and Jigsaw are in the same universe, Jigsaw would probably call him an idol because he hooks Pam on a hook, lets her watch as he dismembers her boyfriend, as he just just casually does his thing, and then he's like, "All right, I'm going to pick you up. You're a bit too warm. I'm going to stick you in the freezer." And then this poor girl is locked in this freezer at minus. I mean, most freezers operate around about minus 20 degrees, which is cold. And then to be sitting there trying to push this lid open as you're slowly freezing to death, only for like a slight bit of hope to come out, and then be shut on you again. You're like, the dude is, he's working in some creative circles there.
I feel you can link the brutality along to their motives as well, which we talked about earlier. Yeah. How Leatherface is the unhinged one. The Ghostface killers have a motive. So the more unhinged he is, the more brutal it's coming across, because he's not planning this. This is natural to him. Like you mentioned about how Pam hooked up watching her boyfriend just get cut up. Yeah. That is a brutal mindset, rather than a violent psycho, we'll call them sociopaths now, a violent sociopathic mindset from the Ghostface killers.
Yeah, because their motive is revenge, so they're gonna want you to suffer. Whereas Leatherface, it's like, you're on my land, I'm just gonna do what I have to do. I mean, effectively, you could say he looked around he knew he had a hook in his kitchen, and it's like, this one's gonna escape. I'll tell you what, I'll dump her on the hook. There you go. She's sorted out. I'm going to take care of this. Take care of her. Find the others. Sorted. So yeah, he's just thinking, he's working through a bullet point. It's like, how can I use my house's everyday appliances to my advantage?
Well, we don't know what they do, but they probably used it like an abattoir. The hook, because that's a meat hook, obviously. So
probably, not really used for human bodies, but there you go.
Brutally wise, the most brutal kill, I mean, we've agreed on this, is Casey's one in Scream 1.
Yeah, that was harsh.
You have got Franklin's one, Franklin's death in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but again, you don't see it. It's left to the audience's interpretation in their mind to visualize the horrific sight of a chainsaw gutting Franklin while Sally is watching it happen. But you don't see it. You don't in the long run, you don't see it, so you can't count it.
Yeah,
really, as brutal.
I would say that
Casey is tortured.
Yeah, she is. That's what I was just going to get onto.
Yeah,
Franklin. I mean, if you think about it, when he's having that chainsaw plunged into him, your body would just shock. Your mind would probably shut down from the pain.
2 seconds, so actually, 2-3 seconds.
2 seconds, and then that's it. Whereas Casey, she would have had to have felt every single knife stab. She probably would have had to have felt. Oh no, was she dead before he disemboweled her? I think she was.
Well, we don't see it, but
we don't know.
She was dying before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she would have felt all of that, and also he casually walks up behind her as she's trying to call to her parents. He lets her have that slight glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Which is horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, it is.
Leatherface is just like, no, I'm gonna just get rid of you. I mean, at least he's nice enough to let you make it quick.
Yeah. And to me, that's what trumps the brutality of it. Not so much Leatherface's unhinged mind, but the brutality of Casey's death. And Steve's, to be fair. We don't see it that much, but that is brutal.
No.
If we were doing violence, again, it's a very subjective category. For me personally, for brutality, Casey's death would give it to Ghostface, I think. But at the same time, I want to give it to Leatherface because of his unhinged mind. To me, this is a split.
Oh, okay. So you think it's a split one?
I do. See, but for different reasons in each film.
Yeah, I was going to give it to Leatherface.
Okay.
The way that he is, it's just a simple. Obviously, he's implied to be very simple.
Yeah.
Um,
very simple. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the way that this very simple-minded monster of a bloke, because he's huge, is still able to be like, okay, I've got to deal with these people.
Yeah.
How do I do that? Oh, I could I could lock her in the freezer. She'll be fine in there till
Yeah.
I'll bring her out later. I could hook her on this hook. I could take her face off, because that's what he does. Obviously, you don't see it in the first film.
He's just to kill. Everything is just to kill for him. I'd go with that. I'd give it to Leatherface then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's, in terms of overall creativity with the way he dispatches people, I would give it to him, because he uses a lot more stuff. Yeah. Whereas Ghostface, as hardcore as some of his kills are, he's going to do it. He's just going to do it one way, and he's going to be stabbing you at some point.
It's quite simplistic in a way.
Whereas Leatherface might be like, I'm going to hook you. Yeah. I actually go off the, obviously I know it's not the original, but the better remake, the 2003 version.
Yeah.
Where he lops off the brother's leg, then he hooks him, shoves the salt in his wound, and you're like, dude, that is, okay, just take a chill pill, all right? That poor bloke's body is going through horrific stuff.
Well, that is based on the fact that he used to work in an abattoir.
Yeah, true.
So that's his skills coming back from there, whereas we don't know. This is some absolute monstrous freak that lives in this decrepit house full of bones, limbs, whatnot, bodies. We don't know what the hell goes on in here. This house in the 74 one.
No.
So I would agree with you. Leatherface.
Leatherface. Yeah. All right then.
And I think wrong pen. From us discussing the brutality of these killings, we should also now get into the weapon of choice as to how these brutal killings are mind blanking. Killed. How these people are killed. There we go. We'll go with that.
How are they dispatched?
Tell us. That's the word. I was like, that's a good word. Dispatched. How are these people dispatched?
What method of how are they destroyed by our slashers?
How are they destroyed?
So obviously we have, now this is going to be a tricky one. Obviously Ghostface is obvious. He has the gun. Not the gun. He has the knife. Sorry.
Well, no, you were right. Yeah,
okay.
Don't worry. It's fine.
He does. There is a gun that I think every Ghostface picks up a gun at some point and then never uses it.
It's like a backup.
Yeah, it's a backup. It's like, if my knife fails, I'll use the gun.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Obviously, Leatherface it's tricky because I think you'll agree that he has more than one weapon.
It's not the chainsaw.
No.
It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One person is killed with a chainsaw. One person is diced up with a chainsaw who is very much on the dead side. So he's already dead. And the said character was killed by the meat mallet.
Meat masher, yep.
The meat masher mallet. The meat mallet
Two
masher,
people.
whatever we call it.
Two people killed by the meat masher.
So reality, the knife is more prominent with Ghostface than the chainsaw is more prominent with Leatherface. But the chainsaw acts as his sidekick rather than the knife acting as a sidekick to Ghostface.
I was going to call it, he acts as his like dancing extension. He dances with it beautifully.
Yeah,
when he's just swinging it around at the end there, kind of like a lasso.
And the chainsaw itself is never referenced as a main part of the family in Texas Chainsaw Massacre until the second film, where the tagline was "the saw is family." At least then you know, okay, this is what this psychopathic family is dealing with. The chainsaw is their baby. They dispatch people with this. They I don't know, they carve their furniture out with it. They cut their cheese with it for some cheese on toast. This is what they use in the house. Okay, this is what they
toenails.
Use. The first film, the first time you see it, actually, it's when he's carving up Kirk. There's no scenes of him, close-ups of him looking at the chainsaw and like thinking, "Ooh, yeah, look at that. Ooh, I'm gonna pick that up and go dice some people." The second time you see it, he's just got it. He just has it, and he's killing Franklin.
That's true. I mean, I would say that before I choke on myself.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, I know, that'd be terrible. The chainsaw is more of a weapon of, the weapon is the chainsaw is more of a weapon of inflicting terror. So especially when Sally is hearing that chainsaw revving behind her in the darkness as she's trying to find someone to run to, because that sound would be bouncing around everywhere. You would not be able to escape it. Whereas the knife that Ghostface always uses is much more he uses it much more to inflict pain.
Oh, it's straight up pain.
And death.
Straight up pain. Yeah. There's no other job for it.
Oh, no.
No.
I mean, yeah, you can't, if you were like miles away, if you just waved the knife at someone, they'll be like, I'm like 10 feet away from you. What do you want? Whereas if a chainsaw, you hear that and you don't know where it's coming from, you'd be like, oh my God, all I can hear is this noise.
Yeah. And it's got to be a rusty, clunky one.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one I added to the last episode.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime that when I was thinking about this, knife versus chainsaw, I mean, you could get nicked by a chainsaw, and you might be able to pull away potentially,
which he kind of does to himself.
Yeah, exactly. Leatherface, he does. Yeah, I did find that quite funny. I did laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I don't know
he
what it says about me.
Thrown in his face by the
Fantastic. As soon as his leg, he's just like, oh,
and he still dances after that.
Yeah, I mean, give it to him. He's, he obviously has no nerve endings.
He's a tough cookie.
But when I thought about this, I sat there, I was like, I would not want to get stabbed, because feeling that going in, I was like, because I mean, the chainsaw, like I said, with Leatherface, when he nicks himself, it hits him and he gets it out, and yeah, there's some damage, but so long as it's not in there for long or deep enough, you should be okay. But the knife, you have to be so well. Obviously, yeah, it depends where it hits you, I suppose.
I feel like
the knife.
I don't know, if a knife nicked me, I feel I'd be a bit more okay than the chainsaw nicking me.
I have nicked myself with a knife, and it does hurt. I mean, I've nicked myself with a foil cutter before, and that really hurt.
Yeah.
But I would not want to have a knife anywhere near pointing at me, anywhere near any organ, I should say.
You could be more mobile with a knife than a chainsaw.
Yeah. The chainsaw would be heavy as. Well, it depends on how light your chainsaw is. You can get mini chainsaws, I suppose.
Well, he does in number 2. Dennis Hopper with number 2. Yep.
Yeah.
So I believe the knife is.
Yeah.
I believe the knife does win.
It's used better than I mean, the chainsaw is, like you said, it's only used to kill someone in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's only used once with Franklin.
Yeah.
The knife in Scream is used all the time.
Pretty much all the time, apart from Tatum, even though she does get nicked a bit.
She gets nicked a bit,
she's playing around, but for the most part, the knife is the main catalyst. The main weapon.
The knife is, if you were to have Ghostface, you have to have the knife. Whereas with Leatherface, if he doesn't have the chainsaw, he could potentially pick up, I don't know, could be a mallet. He could pick that up. He could pick up a butcher's knife. He could just find something to hook you on. So, but if it was a weapon of choice, Ghostface uses his much. I mean, he inflicts pain with it. Effectively, he tortures you with it. Mm-hmm. And when a lot of his victims knew that was it, their hope was gone, and he brings it out. They're like, okay, here it comes.
It's also not just a stab and done.
No. Oh, no.
Steve and Casey are gutted.
Yep. Casey is horrific. You said Casey, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm losing my marbles.
Dewey is not killed, but just even the knife in the spine can inflict more damage than a cut on the arm. Like
the principal is stabbed quite brutally.
The principal is back to the brutality. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kenny is. I think, to be fair, Gail does more damage to Kenny than anything. Even though he's dead, she hits him with the the windscreen wipers before throwing him off the car.
I think one thing as well that's quite ironic about Ghostface with the knife is that the knife is his or her or whoever it is the prominent weapon of choice for Ghostface, but does also carry the gun, as we established as like a backup weapon. He's got to have a backup weapon. But if you think the ironic part of it is the gun is quicker and more powerful than the knife.
It really is, yeah.
But it's louder and it's harder to be. I guess it's harder to be a serial killer with a gun than it is a knife.
That's true.
Or
if the gun goes off,
that matter. If Ghostface had a chainsaw, the film wouldn't be that long.
That's true, but I suppose when you look at the locations, though, the chainsaw for Leatherface, it doesn't matter because if it's on his farmland, middle of nowhere, I mean, in Texas, no one hears you scream, apparently, which sadly does a lot of in the end.
Does indeed. Are we both going with the knife?
I think we'll go with the knife. I think that wins.
Yeah. That's a knife. The knife
That's a
wins.
knife, son. Ugh!
Not the chainsaw. That's a knife.
Ugh.
So there we go. So we've got 2 more categories to finish this off.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get into the strength of our killers.
This is probably going to be one of the quicker ones, I think.
I think this is a open and closed case. Open and shut case.
It's Ghostface, definitely, yes. Is that what you... No, that's not what you thought? Oh, okay. No, I think it's fairly obvious it's Leatherface. I mean, the guy is jacked like a tank.
Yeah, he really is.
It's all that human meat he's been eating. It's all that extra protein.
I think it's also down to the fact, because I keep saying we don't know much about Leatherface in the first film.
No,
but
especially at that point,
I guess a human being. He is a human being. Played by Gunnar Hansen was massive, who played him.
Oh yeah,
Leatherface is a unit. Is an absolute unit. So even if Kirk and Jerry managed to fight off Leatherface, they still wouldn't win. I think the overall presence and strength of Leatherface would have overpowered them and won. Ghostface, how many times do you really see Ghostface getting a straight up kill without any fighting back or restraints? There was always Ghostface running into a chair or running or
getting knocked down.
Getting knocked down. There's always something.
Yeah, I the thing is, if you were to put Leatherface, if you were to stick Leatherface next to Billy and Stu Ghostface, there would be a clear distinction. Obviously, Matthew Lillard is tall. Matthew Lillard is 6'3.5".
He's tall, but he's not stocky. He's not a unit.
No, he's a slim lad.
Yeah,
bloke. I don't know how tall Skeet Ulrich is. I think he's only about 5'10", something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how tall Gunnar Hansen is, but he's easily... I mean, how tall is he? He's huge, isn't he?
He's a big guy. I think he's probably similar to the Kane Hodder body type.
Yeah, he's 1.93 meters.
That's taller than me, and I'm 6'3".
Yeah, so he's 6'4".
Yeah, and
so
he's built.
Oh yeah, he's a machine. He's a powerhouse.
The character of Leatherface had to be like that, though. I don't see how you could have Leatherface. Say you role reverse this, right?
Yeah.
Say you had Billy, not Billy and Stu. Billy. No, forget that, actually. Say you role reversed it in the Texas Chainsaw film. You had the Hitchhiker. The Hitchhiker being the one under the Leatherface mask. And you had Thomas, I believe his actual name is Thomas Sawyer. I might be completely wrong. It changes with every film, is Leatherface. It changes in every film. And I know I said it's my favorite film, but I'm probably butchering it. So I apologize to all the millions of viewers that are listening to this.
Let's have a look.
The Leatherface character was the Hitchhiker. So a bumbling, stocky, giant of a man. It wouldn't work if the Hitchhiker, who's quite a lanky, small fellow, was Leatherface. It's not as impactful. It's not scary.
Didn't they do that for one of the later films? He was a really skinny lad. It was one of the really rubbish ones, wasn't it?
So it wasn't in the original 4 remake. He was big. Even in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, he was big as a young Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw 3D, he was pretty big. Leatherface. The film Leatherface, which is appalling. It's so bad. You wouldn't know it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film from about 45 minutes on. If you didn't told someone it wasn't that. He's a normal looking guy. He's not stocky. He's just slim. He's normal.
Just seen the poster for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know what he's
That's
clearly
not-
embracing something.
No. That poster gives nothing away.
Oh, okay.
Send me
Alright,
that
cool,
poster
cool.
in Discord. Actually, I want to see which
I
one you're
will do.
looking at. Because
Okay, I'll send that over to you now.
the next generation. Here, I don't care. We're going on a tangent quickly. The Next Generation is an incredible film. That film is wild. Okay. He's just sent me the poster,
That
folks.
one.
And if you've ever seen the poster for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, that is no indication as to what the film is at all.
Renée Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey were in
Yep,
that.
it's an early film. Matthew McConaughey turns it up to 11 in this film. The
Oh,
film
right,
is
fair
quite
enough.
slow. It's quite slow to begin with, but it just goes off the rails in such a fun way. It's so bad, it's good. This could easily be on a list for a bad movie night. Okay, but the poster itself is, if you ever get a chance to look at it, listeners, Google or Ask Jeeves, your preferred internet
Ask
web
Jeeves.
browser, and you find the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation movie poster, you should see what looks like a female character with a mask wielding a chainsaw. Yeah, nothing to do with the film. Nothing to do with the film.
That's
That's
all I
all I'm
need to
going to
know.
say
I will
about it.
watch
That's
these.
all I'm going to say. You should watch it.
Oh, I will. Well, when we do the deep dive, I'll have to.
Oh, you will. You will.
Okay.
So I digress, but
Yeah.
as a whole, Leatherface,
It's easily
it
stronger.
trumped Ghostface in strength department.
I think it'd be interesting if we did a strongest slasher episode, because you could then, I mean, the contenders for that you would have be tricky, because you could have it'd be Jason, Michael, and Leatherface would be the three main contenders. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. There we go.
Sneeze.
Okay, they would be the three main contenders, but then obviously you could technically throw in Freddy in the dream world, because he would be unbeatable.
Yeah,
But-
it's a tough one with that though, because we'd have to determine the parts of the franchise, because Jason from 1 to 4, however you want to describe him, he is a mutant. He has abnormal strength, but he's not undead. 6 onwards, he is that plus the undead, and there are no rules for him really.
No, not really.
Michael in the franchise, the parts of the franchise we prefer, is just man.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's man.
Which is now going out the window by the sound of it.
Like I said, the franchise parts we like.
Yeah.
That we believe are good. Yeah.
He's man.
Ghostface has always just been person.
To be fair, Ghostface has mainly actually just been either a young adult, like 20 to 30s, or a teenager.
Yeah. Billy Loomis's mum.
Yeah, so yes. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Obviously, I think we touched upon this in our Scream 5 review, where obviously, like, the kill that Amber did, which was apparently Dewey.
Yeah.
We were like, A, there's no way you're that tall. B, there's no way a 16 to 18-year-old teenage girl would ever be able to lift up a 6 foot something man.
Now, on that, he wasn't actually lifted up. I found out. He wasn't
was he
lifted
not?
up. No. He's on his tiptoes. He's not actually
that's still-
lifted. He's not actually off the ground, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's either on his tiptoes or just like pressing his chest forward. I don't believe he's lifted.
Even so, we already discussed that it can't be Amber, because in order for that to happen, she'd have to be above his height, and she's only 5'3".
Yeah, completely.
Like, that's another tangent that we went off on last time. But going back to strength, I think you just gotta give it
Leatherface
to
runs away
Leatherface.
with it. Runs away with it.
Easily. So we'll give that
He's
to.
a pure unit. As a unit of strength.
I mean, he hooks Pam up and hooks her. Very little effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
there's
looking a bit even. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, there we go. We'll see how it ends up. With the final category, then I guess we should probably do that.
Fear
Fear
factor.
factor. Hey, we said it at the same time.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, scary.
So fear factor. So we had a quick chat about this.
We did.
I think fear factor, we're going off overall appearance, I would say. Overall appearance, and quite frankly, who you would rather not meet face to
because we're
face.
talking about killers with the killer itself, not the film itself.
No.
The film it's from, but the killer itself.
Which one would you rather not meet the demise at? I mean, I'd rather not meet my demise at both of them. But at least with Ghostface, you might be able to out-trivia him.
Which one do you I mean, in my mind, which one implies the more of the fear? More fear?
So for me, my mind was made up when I watched the close-up scene for Leatherface. Because that just freaks me out. Because with Ghostface, whilst the killers may be slightly sociopathic, they are still rational. You could potentially still rationalize with them. There is no rationalizing with Leatherface. His mind is not. Obviously, he's implied to be a simple inbred man child, shall we say? And no one can rationalize with him. His one goal, as you obviously find out later down the line, is he's protecting his family. It's like, this is our land, my family. If you come onto this land, you're fair game to me.
Backwards hick.
Yeah, and that's it. Whereas at least with Ghostface, you might be able to be like, right, well, actually, that wasn't me. That was the Ryan from down the street. You've got the wrong one, you idiot. You could potentially rationalize with him. But if you're trying to rationalize with someone that doesn't understand, you have no hope. Plus, if you came face to face and he was wearing the face of your mate who just went vanishing, who just disappeared 5 hours ago, you'd also be like, oh my God, what on earth am I face to face with?
Yeah, like I keep going back to the word unhinged, and that's the way to define him.
Oh yeah,
it's unhinged. Is not that is scarier than a planned motive. That has more of an impactful fear than a planned motive because you don't know what he's going to do next. You don't know how he's going to act. Ghostface, as in the murder mystery sense, you can try to work out what the hell, what's going on, who's going to be next, what's going on here. Leatherface, you can't, like you said, you can't rationalize with him. You can't talk. No. You can't even try to understand what is going through that monster head of his.
Yeah.
And to me, that unhingedness is 10 times more scarier. 10 times more scary than any planned motive. It's
like talking to a dog or a cat. It's like you can talk to them and they'll look at you like, oh, you understand me, but the dog's like, it's just hearing noises. It has no idea what you're saying.
That's a good way.
Yeah, and that's effectively what Leatherface is. It's like talking to a dog.
Yeah,
he'll see you talking to him, but it's like, I don't care.
But the dog will still do its instinctive just things in life. It will just keep on doing. It will do it. It will do it.
Yeah. You could say that actually that is all that the Ghostface killers, like you said, they are operating to a plan. They've planned it. They've said, right, we've worked it out. You go this way, I go that way. We've planned out the alibis, all these things. Leatherface, it's as soon as you're on his land, it's instinct. It's like, they're on my land, time to die.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else after that.
We gotta protect the family. We gotta get rid of these outsiders. The Saw is family. Now also the thing with, I know we're not talking about the films, but the rationalization that does come into question in the second film. My good friend on Twitter, Caroline, I remember her last name, doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, that whole the
actress. She does try to rationalize with Leatherface at one point, try to understand him, but obviously it doesn't really go anywhere because he's fucking Leatherface.
Yeah, there's no rationalizing. I mean, and you could say that in a way that's he's playing with her character then, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like he stops and it's like she's like, oh my God, I've got through, I've done it, and he's like, yeah, no, I just thought I'd give you a little bit of hope and then I'm going to crush it.
The fear essence of when he's chasing Sally for the majority of the film, there's no stopping him. This is what he wants to do. This is it. He just wants to massacre her and anyone. Like we said, anyone that comes in.
Big man, he ran fast.
He's going to do everything. Even the trucker right at the end. The trucker saves Sally, but he's going to, right, I'm going to kill the trucker now. I'm going to kill the trucker. Sally jumps on the back of that flatbed truck. He's chasing after her. He's probably going to want to kill the driver as well. He just wants to kill.
Yeah, that's it. It's purely instinct. In a way, it's similar to Michael Myers. It's just pure instinct. There's no rationalizing with either of them.
No,
I suppose even Jason for that matter. Yeah, I mean, also going off appearance as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghostface is literally wearing the Scream painting inspired mask, some long black robes, and that's about it. Like, effectively a Halloween costume.
It's very simplistic. Very simplistic. Yeah.
But if you were to come across Leatherface, you'd be like, okay, he's wearing a disgustingly bloody butcher's apron.
Yeah.
He's got the funny shaped teeth. He's got the wonky teeth. The eyes that, you probably would have tell there's nothing behind them apart from instinct.
Absolutely nothing.
But you'd be like, that is hopefully you'd be like, that is either a fake mask or the fact that you come across someone wearing someone else's skin. Even if they were rational, you'd be like, you are clearly not someone I want to have a chat with.
It's not a costume compared to Ghostface. Ghostface is a costume.
Yeah. Leatherface, it's part because he uses it as part of an identity, doesn't he?
It's him. He has multiple ones. Alongside the later on in the dinner scene, he's changed his mask.
He has,
because that's him. He's obviously has a disfigured face. He likes to wear that.
Isn't it like it's like the female, the mum face, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is a female face because there's a lot of makeup as well on it.
Yeah, that's right.
He also has a different hairstyle.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I guess you could class it as a costume, but at the same time, it's not. It's him. It's who he is as a person. He wants to wear that. Ghostface.
Who he is at that point.
Yeah, whoever is Ghostface, they're just wearing this costume to help with their motive, their killing spree.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because you could going off the interesting point you made about Leatherface having the different faces for like, oh, I have to play the mum now of the family. With the Ghostface killers, you could be like, oh, well, actually, they're all just a copycat. They're like, oh, those two had the really cool idea. I'm gonna just nick that idea and just make it look like it's them.
Yeah.
Whereas Leatherface, it's like, no, there is only one Leatherface. So this is him, and but inside his mind, it's weird. He's very. You could kind of say that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is a film about family. Weirdly. Because when you see Leatherface, it's like, I have to protect my family. And it's like, oh, granddad needs to eat. Oh, I'll play the mum. I'll feed him. I'm now the loving daughter. But when Sally escapes, it's like, off comes the mask, back goes on the other one. Right, I'm the son again. Off we go.
We gotta get him. Hey, he doesn't change the mask. He still chases.
Oh, no, he doesn't, does he?
He still chases in that.
But the personality behind who's driving that at the moment switches back.
Oh, it's gone back, instantly, like that. Flick of a button.
God, Leatherface is a really complex guy, isn't he?
You're telling me. In my opinion, Leatherface wins the fear factor.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Leatherface as well.
I think it has to be.
I would just not want to meet him on a dark night because I think, like we just said, there's the rationalization to try to rationalize with someone that has none. You may as well just be like, oh, there's no hope I'm getting out of this.
And you're saying, I wouldn't want to meet on a dark night. You wouldn't want to meet any single killer we're ever going to talk about on this podcast on a dark night, or even on a sunny field, like in a field in a sunny day. I wouldn't want to meet any of them.
I mean, you could probably get away with Chucky because he's only like 2 foot tall, so you could probably hold him at arm's length.
Fuck that doll! I'm kicking that doll across the field.
Yeah, exactly. It's someone like him, but any of the lads who are taller than me, no, which is probably all of them.
I think I'd have a good conversation with Pinhead.
Yeah, because you're not going to meet Pinhead unless you open his box.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's like well, actually, you could probably the only one you would actually probably come across is either be Ghostface or Chucky, because if you stay out of Crystal Lake, you won't. Oh yeah, Freddy.
You've got
no, Freddy only. Yeah. Although I would say that if you don't go to Haddonfield, you'll never meet Michael. Don't go to Crystal Lake, you'll never meet Jason. Don't go to Texas, you'll never meet Leatherface.
Yeah.
Stay out of Westboro because.
You stay out of there. Yeah.
And Freddy just don't tell yourself it's not real.
Yeah. So T, who won?
Would you like to know the points?
Who won?
So let's have a look. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so with 8 points, we had Ghostface, but Leatherface took it with 10 points in total.
I think it was a given, to be fair. I think it was a given. If we'd have added many different other categories, I can't think of one off the top of my head, tables may have turned, but you just can't compare. You can't compare the two, which it's by choice. No. In the future we could do Ghostface versus Michael. We could do Jason versus Leatherface. They'll all be different.
We could do Mask versus Mask.
We do Mask versus Mask. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be interesting. So I think that's. Oh yeah. Oh no, I was going to go on to the next episode, but
so was I.
There we go.
I was just going to say that it's kind of fitting that Leatherface wins our first slasher versus slasher because of what is about to come in episode 4.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, we've had discussions outside of this. You know, we've kind of sent each other messages going, it looks rubbish. It doesn't look too good. But I think we'll go into it with an open mind.
Yes. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes out on Netflix, I believe, worldwide. Friday the 18th. And it is a new true sequel to the original 94 film, even though this has already been done before.
Did you say 94 film?
74 film. I did say 94. Thank you for correcting me. 74 film. We've already had many true sequels, but this is now the new true sequel. 50 years later.
There's that sigh. So for those who we won't go, obviously we don't know much about this. The only thing we know is there's a bunch of very young looking kids who are apparently running around the Sawyer estate, and Sally, the survivor from the first film, even though she was horrifically traumatized
somehow
at
wants
the end
to go
of the
back.
first film, has sat there and gone, I've waited 50 years to go and kill him, and has turned into a Sidney Prescott, Laurie Strode looking badass cowgirl killer. Yeah. And yet you're sitting there and you're like, why would you wait 50 years? Just wait a year, tell them where they are, rock up with the SWAT unit, blast them to pieces.
Not happy about it.
Yeah,
not happy about
really
it. I'm not happy about it. I'm going to kick off next week. Until then, you can find both of us on Twitch, myself at Gaming Grindhouse, yourself at
Painted Souls.
And we are on the social medias, myself at Twitter at Tom Grindhouse and Instagram at ElRayTom. I didn't add that last time. I figured I'd add that this time. I don't really use Instagram, but I figured I'd use it. So ElRayTom, that's ElRayTom.
Oh, fair enough.
It's always good to have all your social media accounts with different names, you know? Always good to do that. It makes it really easy to follow. Why would I keep it simple and keep it all Gaming Grindhouse? No, I'd never do that.
Well, I mean,
or the Dreadcast.
Uniformity, isn't it?
And you can also find myself on Gaming Grindhouse on YouTube, where the video podcast will be along with T's YouTube channel as well.
Yes, that's right. So you can find me on YouTube at Tainted Souls. Well, to be fair, you can find me on all social medias at Tainted Souls. Instagram is Tainted Souls. Twitter is Tainted Souls. Tainted Souls. Just Tainted Souls. Yeah, just type in Tainted Souls. I'm sure you'll find me.
And as far as the Dreadcast podcast itself and previous episodes, you can find us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, and as we just said, the YouTube for the kids, for the video podcast, which I think in the future, maybe not right away, but in the future we'll try and get some actual proper video podcasts going.
Yes,
but in the very distant future, we've got work to do before that.
Oh yes, so much work.
So until then, guys, you've got some research and some homework to go and do this Friday.
Yep, we do. We have to. All of us have to watch.
I can't believe we're having to push this film. I don't want to push this film.
Well, no, I tell you what. We're going to go and watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre because we have to. We will then tell you if you should watch it. The answer will probably be no. Yeah. But go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Watch that one. If you want to, watch the 2003 version because that's also not too bad.
Yeah.
And then,
I'd recommend the sequel. The real sequel to the original with Dennis Hopper.
Yes. I've got that on DVD. I might go watch that tonight, actually.
Good on you. Right. We've got some homework to go do. Let's go do it.
Sally, I hear something. Stop. Stop.